Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Valerie, and we're at my home. So today we're going to check out the iBlinds Z-Wave window blind motor.
And iBlinds sent us this for the review.
So what this is a motor that you can use to automate your existing blinds. And it doesn't move the blinds up and down, but it does tilt them.
It tilts them.
Yes.
So let's take a look.
All right, let's check it out here. Ooh. Here's a Z-Wave Plus. Control your window blinds anywhere.
Okay.
Here are the installation instructions.
So this is nice. So let's see. It's got all sorts of instructions here. Wow, look at all that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go through that in a minute.
All right.
All right. What else?
Okay, here's a little QR code sticker. This is for the Z-Wave Plus, right?
Yeah, this way you can scan, like in Smart Things, you can just scan that QR code.
So you can just scan the QR code. And then because you probably don't want to put this at the top of your blind, you can put this sticker anywhere you want, right?
Yeah, and I recommend putting it like on the lower part of the blinds, like underneath. So if you ever need to hook up this thing to Z-Wave, it's easy to find.
All right, so here it is. Pretty simple. It's this all-in-one box. The motor's inside.
Okay, I'll explain this in a minute.
All right,
Let's take
here.
out the rest.
Let's see. Here's the accessories. Here's the cord. Move the box over.
Move the box out of the way.
All right, so what's this cord for?
So the cord's for charging, so we can charge this up.
All right. All right, so here's some stuff. This looks like a battery.
Okay, so...
All right, so what's all this stuff, Mark?
Okay, so on your right... No, now it's no longer on
No.
your right. So this kit over here, you take everything out of there, it'll be
All
good.
right.
This kit over here, what it is these little tubes. And if you look on the end of them, they have like a pattern inside them, if you look carefully in it. And basically, when you look at your blinds, there's a tilt rod in there, and they have a different pattern on the tilt rod. Some are square, some are star-shaped like this. And so you may have to, if the tilt rod that's in this unit doesn't match your blinds, you'll have to swap it out for this. And what's really nice is they give you 3 different ones to try. And in there is also an Allen wrench. So if the one that's here doesn't fit your blinds, then what you can do is you can take this Allen wrench and just unbolt these 4 bolts here, these 4 screws, and swap it out for the shaft, the tilt shaft for this one here. That's it. So they give you everything you need.
Well, you make that sound easy.
Yeah, it is easy.
Okay.
Okay. And then they give you a bunch of twist ties. That's nice
Twist
for
ties.
keeping things tidy when you do the installation.
All right. What's
This little clip goes with this other device. And this device is, you can see on here, it has a charging port, right? So there's a micro USB port, which this connects into, and a little button, and that button lets you open and close the blinds if you want. And this thing fits inside your blinds where your tilt rod went, all right? And then this clip is used on the bottom to lock it in. So when you put this inside the unit, you put this underneath, it snaps it in, it holds it in place, and then this plugs into the blind motor to allow you to charge the blind motor, right?
Okay. And is this the battery?
And this is the battery. That's it. One battery. They claim 4 to 6 months or something like that. I think something like that. It's very simple. On-off switch. When you install it, don't forget to turn it on. And then this little plate here goes underneath the blind motor. So it goes here. And the whole idea here is that, and I never used it actually, what happens when you put this on the blind motor is if you have a very deep head unit for the blind, then this thing can go on there and have the extra space.
Oh, so it doesn't slide around.
So it doesn't slide around, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And then they give us a little Velcro and said you need it for anything.
In case you need to stick it on there.
And then if you look at the blind motor, right, there's some buttons on here. So there's a button here for including this into your Z-Wave network if you don't use the code here, or even if you use the code. So that's kind of the way that works. And then there's connectors in here for hooking up the battery. And also you can buy an optional
Solar panel.
Solar panel. So, and we have the extra solar panel. It makes it really nice. And then you plug the solar panel in here. So this plugs into this one. This one plugs into this. The solar panel plugs into the white one. And then there's also the connector here for this to plug in.
Yeah, we really love the solar panel because our windows get a lot of sun, so we'd rather not have to remember to charge the battery.
Yep. So that's kind of the scoop. That's it.
Yep.
That's
And so this is Zwave, so it requires a Zwave hub to operate. But once you have it paired up to your Zwave hub, you can do all kinds of cool automations with your blinds.
So I'm going to go off and install it and show everyone how it works. Before you even attempt to install the blinds, you want to do a couple things. One, make sure that the blind you have will work with this motor. And that means that where the cords come through, you actually want them to be on the left side. That way you can use their charging connector, because it only works on the left side of a blind. And then you also have to make sure that the shaft here matches the shaft that's in this blind motor. And I'll show you how to change that in a minute. The other thing you need to do is plug in the battery and then plug in a micro USB cable to here and charge it for like 6 to 8 hours to get the battery fully charged before you begin. Now, before you actually put the unit inside the head rail and get everything all set up, make sure you have the battery turned on, and we're going to go into the SmartThings app in our case, and we're going to say add a device. So we'll say add device, and we can scan for nearby devices, or we can scan a QR code. And the really cool thing is a QR code came in the box. And I can just tell SmartThings scan QR code, and then I just put this in front of it. Boom. It's now ready to go because I scanned in the QR code. And then all I have to do is name where I'm putting it. So it's on our hub. It's in the bonus room. Click next. And it says preparing. Now what that really means is press the left-hand button here 3 times. It's the one that says IN/EX. So 3 times quickly. When I do that 3 times, it tells the Zwave hub to go ahead and hook them up. Now this does take a little while. Okay, it found it. All right, and there it is. We've now installed this blind motor. It comes up with a name. I can change this. I'm going to change this to say bonus room left iBlind. All right, and we'll say go. So let's see. We got it. All right, that's it. Then it comes up in the app right away with ability to control it, but we're going to look at that later on. Don't do anything right now to move the motor. We'll do that later. We have Hunter Douglas blinds. Now these are not exactly the blinds I think that iBlinds want you to be able to retrofit, because if you look at our blinds, the pull cords are on the right-hand side. In their directions, they say look for ones that are pull cords are on the left-hand side. But we actually got this to work. So let's take a look. So first of all, you have to slide the rod here out. Make sure these barrels stay aligned when you go put this thing together. So you know, they move a little bit. And we'll just make sure they're lined up when we put the thing back together again. But the first thing we have to figure out is, does the shaft here in the motor fit the blinds? Well, ours are more of a hexagon kind of shape. And so we just tested it out here to see if it works. And sure enough, this shaft seems to be the right one for our blinds. So we'll take that out. And we're going to replace the shaft in here with this one here. So let me unbolt it. It's very handy they gave us the Allen wrench to go with this, so don't lose it. Okay, we got all the screws out of there, and then we just lift the top off. And if you look inside, here's the mechanism. It comes with a gear and a couple of bearings. So we're going to take those bearings off. And then we remove it's a little snug. We remove the gear and we put it on the same place as the other one. So line them up. One here with a place for it. Swivel it till it fits and then slide it on. That's it. Then you just have to mount the bearings. So one bearing on one side, one bearing on the other. That's it. Put it back in, make sure it meshes good. Put the cover on and replace all the screws. Okay, so we've now replaced it. Now we have that proper shaft in here for this. If we don't need these anymore, we'll save them away. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure you plug in the battery, plugged in here. And if you happen to have a solar panel like we do, now is the time to plug the solar panel in, because after you put this in here, it's really difficult to line up the connector. So we'll line up the connector, push it in, and we're all set. Now, we recommend you get the solar panel option because you don't want to have to charge it. As a matter of fact, in our case, since we're using Hunter Douglas, we can't actually put the current iBlinds charging adapter on our blinds. So we've pre-charged, we already charged up the battery here that goes with this. And so we add the solar panel so that we never have to charge it. At least that's our hope. Okay, now that everything is set up, let's install the motor. So what's going to happen is these cables here inside the blind have to go into the center of the motor. So you're going to have to move them around after we put this in. So basically you just make sure that these buttons are to the back of the blind, right? This is to the front, all right? And you just kind of push your blinds apart. It's going to be snug. Okay, there we go. A little bit of elbow grease. Try to line your cables up. Drop it in. Boom, it's in. And then just make sure the cables go in that slot underneath as best you can. All right, and then what we're going to do is we're going to slide the tilt rod through the motor. All right, and then make sure it's lined up right on the other side. Okay, and push it through. Now when you come through, you're going to line these barrels up. So see how they're tilted like this? Just make sure this guy is tilted the same way. That way the tilts all work correctly when you get done. A little bit of fussing sometimes has to happen here, but we'll get it. There we go. All right, and just push the rod through. There you go. You know, you've got the motor assembly in there. Now we need to move the wiring. So we're going to put this wire behind here, in our case. But you just want to route your cables so that they don't get pinched when the system's running. All right, put that in here. All right, I think we have a clamp here. All right, make sure your motor is on. All right, and then we're going to take and route this cabling as well. Let me put this back in here. Got to make sure these assemblies are correct. Okay. All right, so just make sure everything's lined up correctly. Make sure none of the wires are jammed anywhere. All right. Sometimes you can kind of pull on these just to see. Okay. All right. I think we got it all in there. Okay, so it's all in now. Everything's there. Okay, now we just have to route this cable. All right, well, so once you've routed your cabling, it's good. We've got this here. I think we have it all assembled now. Remember, make sure the battery's on, these buttons to the back. Everything seems to be hooked up correctly. Now we'll just reattach our solar panel. And then the next step is just hanging it back up on the window. Okay, I've installed the blinds back on the window, lowered the blinds down. Now let's try in the app, and the SmartThings app, let's open them up. Now remember, open and close are actually the same thing. I'll show you what I mean. Now what's happening is it's doing a calibration automatically the first time you use the app. That's it. Now the blinds are open. but you see what it really means is the slats are pointing up. If I press close, close means the blinds or the slats are pointing down. And then I can change the shade level. So let's say, for example, to 50%. And there you have it. The blinds are open. So it's that easy to use. As you can see in the app, it tells you the battery level. So we're all set. Now we have it all hooked up. The iBlinds motor's in the head rail. We have the solar panel to keep it charged. All I have to do now is put the valance back up and we're set to go. So one of the things you want to do, in case you have to reinstall or whatever, is take this sticker here and go to the bottom slat in your blinds and hook it up. Or place it there. That way, if you ever have to get back to it, you're all set. So the nice thing about this is because I have this hooked up to SmartThings, it's actually now connected to Alexa. So listen to this. Alexa, close bonus room left eye blind.
Okay.
Alexa, open bonus room left eye blind 50%.
Okay.
So as you can see, it works great with Alexa as well. Now, one of the things you can do, because this is hooked up through Zwave, is if you have a temperature sensor, you can put it in your window, and if the window gets too hot, like the sun's shining on it, you can set a routine to automatically close the blinds when the temperature reaches a certain point, or open the blinds after it cools down. So as you can see, it was fairly easy to install the iBlinds, a little bit more difficult because these were Hunter Douglas, but we think if you have the right dimension blinds where the cord is on the left, you should have a fairly easy job of installing it. Thank you for watching our video.